are going down more and more on housing. Their incomes are going down and down. This was a pyramid. This was this was a house of cards, and the banks, in spite of the fact that the housing prices were getting so out of line, increased the fraction of the value of the house that they were willing to lend against. And they were actually having loans where you didn't even have to pay the interest on the loan.
Just incredible. Now, expanding from there, where do you see this going? How do you see the government, the Treasury, the private Federal Reserve, this whole international order dealing with this? Because I've seen Financial Times of London articles saying, look, other contractions, other speculation, bubble implosions have been manageable, and have even been some opportunities for people that weren't in debt and people that did save, both at the local level or the international level. It didn't matter where you were geopolitically. Now they're talking about this being a financial black hole that, if it continues, might even make the Treasury become insolvent.
Well, this is clearly the most serious problem since the Great Depression, and in some ways worse in terms of the financial institutions. The reason, in part, is that while some of the same problems that have occurred then and have occurred since then, excessive leverage, pyramid schemes, bubbles, have happened before, the so-called innovation of Wall Street, the financial innovations, were supposed to manage risk. It created risk and created a kind of non-transparency that is so great that no one knows exactly what the magnitude, what the nature of the risk they face.
In fact, that's now coming out where these companies say, we can't show you your books. We don't even really have them. It's just, the companies are saying they can't extrapolate how these algorithms are even working, what these computer systems are doing, who owns what debt, how it was leveraged.
Exactly, and that's why no one trusts anybody else. You can't. Who wants to buy Lehman Brothers when you don't know what its liabilities are?
Well, that's my question, because you won one of your 2 Nobel Prizes for coming up with these asymmetrical models or looking at certain strata, something they hadn't done. So you're an expert on this.
Exactly, and what I cautioned about, I wrote about these problems of asymmetric information, the fact that some people know things that others don't know. But this is, in some ways, a double problem, because not only do others not know, say, what Lehman Brothers may know, Lehman Brothers doesn't know what it ought to know.
Which makes it even harder to say, if you have a fire, no one has a full blueprint of even the building.
Exactly, and so that's where we are in this crisis, and that, of course, means that no one's willing to lend to anybody else, and that, of course, restricts credit.
So we have a crisis of trust, not just with the public and the banks, but with the institutions themselves, which sounds like just about as bad a scenario as
it's particularly bad because, our financial institutions are based on trust. You put your money in the bank, and you trust that you can get your money out. If you didn't trust that, you would never put your money in the bank. So trust is absolutely essential for the functioning of our financial markets, functioning of our economy. And then there's another level of trust. Outsiders, say those in other countries, have to have trust that the American economy is working well. They have to have trust that when the president says everything is going well, it is. Well, this administration has really burned that trust. The president said, there's no problem, just too many houses have been built. Well, if that's the level of analysis that the leader of the United States is giving about what the nature of the economic problems, no wonder everybody around the world is losing a certain amount of confidence.
Well, in fact, in the past, if a president said all is good, the market would go up. Now, if McCain or even Obama or even Bush, anyone seen as a leader, says, we're going to make it out of this, it's okay, markets go down, which shows almost a terminal loss of trust. Now, going back to this asymmetric data, where people can't see around the tree to the other side to see what's on the other side of it. projecting forward, which you've really been good at, where do you see this going? How do you see this on the good side unfolding versus on the bad side unfolding?
Well, there's always some uncertainty about what the government is going to do, and I have to say that the uncertainty has increased because there's clearly now an additional element of uncertainty where the government's saying we're going to pick winners, we're going to decide who we bail out and who not, and so if you have your money in the wrong firm, you won't get bailed out. Boy, is that scary to people outside, because they're now making not only an economic bet, they're making a political bet on who's friends of the Bush administration or the Fed, and what their judgment about whether there's systemic risk or not.
Well, let me ask you, who are those friends? Is it Chase Manhattan, Citibank, Bank of America?
Well, we don't really know. What we do know, for instance, question, why was it that we bailed out Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac? One story that one hears is that there were a lot of investors abroad, some with close connections with one of the firms that the Secretary of Treasury was at before, and so there, the rumors that may have played an important role in the decision to bail out Fannie Mae.
The Saudis and the Chinese, right?
Exactly. So the question is this being done for the American economy? How would American taxpayers feel that if the reason they put billions and billions of their money at risk was to help some people that in other countries, not to help with the American economy? Well, of course, they're always going to say, if we lose the confidence in the American economy, where will we be? But we've lost that confidence.
Joseph Stiglitz, because we've only got you under 10 minutes, I'm going to skip this break and the final break. We're going to ride up to about 32 after with you. So we will continue. Some stations will not carry this, but others will, and you can go to Infowars.com and pick it up as well. Here we go with Joseph Stiglitz, two-time Nobel Prize winner.
Now from the maker.
Okay, this is so important. I want to continue. Now, I don't consider myself technical or to be some economic whiz kid, but I do read what you write. I do read what hundreds of others say, because this is so important, obviously. But let's go down from the level of knowledge, say I have, or somebody who's somewhat informed, down to just very simple. I understand people listen to you, so you've got to be very technical and explain out why you're saying what you're saying. But just in layman's terms, I was asking, what's the good side, what's the bad side? I mean, what do you, from past research, from seeing what's going on now? I know so much of this is secret that you're saying, I can't see through a brick wall. But I mean, your best dead reckoning, where do you see us in 12 months, 18 months?
I see in certainly over the next 12 months the basic pattern that we've seen for the last 12 months continuing. House prices will continue to fall. More mortgages will go into foreclosure. The value of more and more houses will be less than the mortgages. More firms will face more financial firms will be put into crisis. Some hedge funds will.
How deep? I mean, we're now hearing them not say 100 banks, but 1,000 banks. In CNBC. I mean,
it's hard to predict. As I say, because there's such non-transparency in what's been going on. But I don't think it's. I just very hard to know. It could be certainly in the dozens of banks.
Do you think it's more rotten than you previously thought as we kick in more doors and see what's behind, deeper levels of this?
It is a little bit more rotten than I had originally thought. But one aspect of what has been going on is everybody realized that there were what they call trillions of dollars in open positions where people were betting against other people. And you had to ask the question, what were they doing? Who were they betting against? They said that they were trying to manage risk, but what risk were they trying to manage? And, why do some people think that they were smarter than other people, that they knew that the exchange rate was going to go up, or exchange rate was going to go down, interest rates go up, or interest rate goes down. Now, what you know is when you have a lot